Why the fuck notters? Feels like it's been a little while for us, but we're back for another episode. I'm Ed, your host, and right beside me I got...
You got Dwight.
And I'm Aaron.
And yeah, we are here going to be talking about some pretty fucking... an interesting topic because we've heard you guys' feedback, and it sounds like you guys kind of like when we focus on one topic. And I think all of us have kind of got that genuine consensus from people that like focusing on that one topic is like almost key because they want to hear a full discussion. They don't want to have that cutoff point. So we've listened. We are now adhering to it. This one's going to be one single topic for the whole episode. I'm really looking forward to it. But before we get into any of that, Dwight, how's your week been?
It's pretty good so far. I mean, I'm not going to complain much. It's good. I've just been staying busy again with the house, and I planted a flower bed this morning, or not this morning. Sorry, it was like 2 days ago.
Close enough.
But yeah,
I've been hearing from people like flower bedding, like doing gardening and stuff is supposed to be super therapeutic. Like it's...
It totally is.
Yeah.
You know what? Even walking into a greenhouse, like picking up the flowers, and you're just smelling all this like fresh air and like this, you know what I mean?
No, I've been there.
And it's like, oh my god,
walking into...
There's so much life.
Yeah,
walking into like Shelmadine's is like great when you like walk through all that stuff. I've always liked that. I've never done gardening before, but I've always kind of been interested just for that whole therapeutic. Like, I'm gonna make this thing fucking grow. It's growing.
It's cool, man. Yeah, it's cool. It's
yeah,
like, and then like watering it, you really just care for it. Like, you know what I mean? You want to see where it grows to, and you want it to. I don't know.
It becomes almost like a part of you, sort of deal, right?
Eating its kids.
Yeah. And then eating its children.
Eating everything it ever worked for.
Yeah.
It's like a new pair of underwear. At first, it seems constrictive and tight, but eventually becomes a part of you.
Yes. A good metaphor.
No.
That's exactly what it's like.
That was a Wayne's World reference. How about yourself, Aaron? How's your week been?
Not bad. I've been pretty sick. I'm just still kind of getting over that. I'll try not to cough into the microphones.
No, well, I'm sure the guys will appreciate that.
Yeah. I've been playing a new video game. Well, not new to me. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
I keep seeing you posting about this. I don't know anything about this game.
So much fun. So much fun. Okay, it's a battle royale type game.
Okay, so we're talking like what's that fucking one?
I'm just thinking of Battlefield.
Yeah, no. It's like a surrounding environment that everybody's in, and you just everyone versus everyone, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like H1Z1 King of the Kill, I think it's called.
Okay.
But yeah, there's 100
Last man
people.
standing.
Yeah, there's 100 people. You kill one, he's out. He has to join a new game.
Right.
So you drop off. You start in this plane over this huge map. It goes in a certain direction. The direction changes every time. The 100 of you jump out wherever you want. You're in like.
Is it a big world?
Yeah, it's pretty big. And there's like massive open fields. There's a bunch of towns. So you have to go through the towns and like find guns, find armor, find ammo, and all that shit.
So it's halfway survival even?
Yeah,
like, wow.
And then
That's
there's like
cool.
healing items. And then eventually like everything kind of closes in a big circle. So at the end there's like maybe 10 people left in this tiny like 30-meter circle where this like other circle's closing in that takes your damage.
Yeah.
And it gets super intense.
Wow, that sounds pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I just started playing it with my buddy Colin, and like you can go on teams, so it's 2 of you against groups of 2. So yeah, like it's so much fun. When you get killed and it's so angry.
Paintball.
You got that last week.
So I was supposed to go to it next week, but I can't.
Paintball is awesome. I forgot how much fun paintballing was.
I the last time I went was for my bachelor party. We did paintball, and it was so much fun. Holy shit, is it good?
There's something about like running from someone with a gun. Even though it's loaded with paint.
Oh god!
It's still you still don't want to get hit, you know.
Regardless, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like the terrains that they set up and all these like paintball places are just like too cool. Like
I've never been paintballing. I really want.
Oh, you're gonna get a chance this summer, guaranteed.
I've been watching so many like what is it? Where they use like air pellets.
Oh yeah, airsoft.
Airsoft, yeah. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of airsoft videos.
Yeah,
There's this really good
cool,
sniper from Germany.
I've seen that when someone like pops their head out and this guy's just got a camera on the end of his
That's crazy.
Those guys get so hardcore. They have like 10 GoPros and shit.
It's unbelievable, that type of stuff. Totally. Like I absolutely love it myself. Like the one that I went to. Question for you: the one that you went to, did it provide you with like jumpsuits that you could wear? Or did you just come in your own clothes and go?
No. So like I know there's one Paintball Paradise which does supply you with them.
Yeah, that's what I like.
So it's kind of like a bit of armor, and you kind of get like.
It's for me. It's not the armor. It's not. It's just keeps you clean. Like when I did paintball, I got in the car and drove home, and there was like fucking paint everywhere on my seat. It sucked.
Yeah.
They might want to bring a change of clothes or something.
Yeah, well, that's just it. Yeah, you have to bring a change of clothes.
Some people want like I'm gonna name shout here. Devin, He walked in with like this full military reaction.
Yeah, he had a full German army. I wasn't even there. I just heard about it.
He's got his leather boots up too.
He's hardcore about it. He loves it.
And
Yeah.
you're like, shit's real. Like this guy's gonna fuck you up at some point in this game because if he's wearing boots like that, he's got to be good.
I think the better story that he told me is that he was like he was trying to jump through a window and he can't jump very well because of like whatever. I'm not gonna get into it, but he can't jump very well. So he kind of like fucking like imagine like Porky Pig trying to go through a window. Like he got stuck and then somebody kept shooting him in the ass, but it didn't bust. And he was like, "Yeah, you didn't bust on my ass." And I'm like, "You didn't what?"
That's why you bought him a strawberry daiquiri?
That's why I bought him a big glass of dicks.
Glass of dicks.
Yeah, it's fun, man. And the other cool part with Splatters is like that we went to was there like this castle in the middle of the map, and you can like there's 2 floors to this castle, so one team starts on either side. We had a good like 10 versus 10 match, and it was fun. Awesome. It was cool. It was it was cool.
I was supposed to go like next week or the week after, but there's another one coming up. I'm gonna go to that one.
Yeah, we'll make sure you get that too because it sucks that you're not able to go to the first one, but shit, is it a lot of fun. You're gonna enjoy it.
Rail a bunch of speed or something. Just bring me to like an actual World War II
either
battle.
way, you'll get adrenaline.
He just walks out of there with fucking PTSD.
I've seen some shit, man. Back at work, battle scarred. Someone drops something and freak out.
Jeez.
How was your weekend?
Oh man, it's getting pressed for time. I'm leaving soon, so like I kind of feel a little stressed because I got some stuff I got to get done before I go. Which I think I've done. I've got everything done. So now it's just trying to think of other things to do on top of that. And I'm like trying to keep myself pushed forward on it. So like a little bit of stress there. And then we had somebody like at our work kind of leave, which like put a little bit of stress on that too, trying to figure that out. All figured out. So like everything's there. So it's not too bad.
I'll tell you what, when you travel, as long as you check and you got a wallet and you got your passport, everything else that you forgot you can buy if you needed to.
Yeah, exactly.
So at the very least, and you need a passport to get back home. So as long as you have those 2 things, and you got some money or a credit card, and you got your passport, you're good. You can forget anything. You can buy a toothbrush. You can buy shit like that.
Oh yeah, I'm not too worried about. Actually, every other time I've traveled, I've always brought this big fucking suitcase with me. This year, I'm actually just getting a backpack and I'm packing a backpack. That's fucking it. Anything more past that, I don't want it. I don't need it. I need like change of clothing, at least one. The place that we're staying at has like a laundry thing that we can do if we want to.
You want to bring more than one.
Well, I'm gonna bring like.
I mean, you're going to the
couple
States.
pair of socks. Yeah.
It's not like you're out in the jungle somewhere.
Yeah. It's
you can buy some clothes if you need to.
I'm pretty sure Orlando has some clothing stores. I mean, if I really jump through the jungles of Orlando, I might find one. But that's coming up, so
hot topic.
I'm getting super jacked for that. I jacked my neck up pretty bad the other day, so like I've been like turning with my shoulders and so I was just jumping for joy and snapped my neck. But yeah, I've been turning with my shoulders, which kind of sucks. But on the plus side of things, I've been playing a new game called Friday the 13th. I'm sure Reddit's heard all about it. The fucking toxic like spills that are coming out of people's mouths sometimes right now. Right now, big deal with this one, and it's going to be a topic at a later episode, but they released it, and they were basing all of their numbers on the servers based on their beta. And their beta had maybe 5,000 people playing. So they're like, oh, well, we'll just do 30,000 because 30,000 people is like well over. Yeah, that's good. We're good. 30,000 people can go on here. So day one, 75,000 people were trying to get on it. Wow. And Sony also was like, hey, people like this game. They're buying it a lot. Let's put it on the front page and sell more. So now they're even increasing more, and the servers are sucking.
Yet they have 4 servers.
Yeah, like, and people are just getting so livid with them. It's like, you got to understand, first of all, this is their first game they've ever made. Second of all, they've only been a company for a year and a half making this game now.
Which company is it?
It's Gun Media is the name of it.
I agree with that. Counterpoint, this happens with almost every fucking AAA game that comes out. At some point, you got to be like...
This was not meant to be a AAA game, though. This game was supposed to be, like,
you should at
least, very niche people playing it.
You should at least have too many servers, and then if you notice 2/3 of them aren't being used, you can just fucking stop using them.
I know. Yeah, totally.
You should always have more, but not enough.
PlayStation especially. Like, I mean, you should be on top of this.
Yeah, they have a pretty huge user base. But, like, that shit happens on PC, and people go crazy, and they... Like, EA, no one likes EA anymore.
Are they bad too? Are their servers bad?
All of them are bad, usually.
How is that when they have this much money and they got all the time in the world to release games? Why is it...
Cause they spend their money
so
on
faulty?
Promos and shit like that, and advertising and not finishing the game. or making available servers for it.
It seems really ridiculous when you're selling someone something like that.
Well, you would think,
and it's not what they've paid for. Like, you've bought something that you're not getting what was advertised to you. Like, if you can't even play the game that you purchased,
that's the problem,
then
though.
You've like falsely bought something that was advertised, right?
Like, I have a friend, Max.
Until it's fixed.
Yeah, my friend Max, who was like my former, like on my old podcast that I did, he picked it up because me and him are big Jason fans, and he bought it on Friday. It's now Monday. He still hasn't played the game yet. He hasn't even gotten in the menu yet. Wow. The menu makes you go onto log onto a server, and then from there you go further. So you can't even get into the menu at that point.
Aaron wants to say something.
Yeah, shoot it out, man. Shoot it out. But yeah, so he hasn't played in 3 days, and he paid $53 for this fucking thing.
And at that point, he's owned it for... Well, I guess he doesn't have the playtime. I don't know how PS4 works.
PS4 is if you even play it once. Like, even turn it on.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah, if you haven't touched it, you can get your refund.
Steam, you have 48 hours. So if you...
I thought it was 48 hours or a playtime or something, if you play less than 2 hours.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It's 48 hours or a playtime of 2 hours.
Yeah.
So you get 2 hours to say, like, hey, this game sucks. I can't get into the menu. But even then, for something like this, they should probably extend that.
I think it should be. They're like, don't get me wrong. I've been paying very close attention to Gun Media and what they're saying.
They're panicking.
They are panicking. Well, they're not so much panicking as they're just trying to say, hey, look, we know this is a problem. We are addressing it. We've hired outside sources to get with this.
Well,
that's commendable of them. Like, look at what happened with No Man's Sky. They didn't say shit. They went to fucking communications.
They still haven't said shit.
Yeah, like they're like, and they silenced themselves and just started working, and that was way more damaging to them than saying what's actually going on and that you're actually trying to do something.
Yeah, I don't think Sean Murray has made a tweet since.
Yeah, he's been pretty silent through the whole thing.
He's just gone.
So my thing is like, at least they're talking to us and telling us, hey, look, we don't want to be silent. We want to tell you that we do know this is a problem. We do know that we're trying to get it fixed up. So like, I commend them on that. But then the people in the comments are just fucking raping them.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, okay, chill the fuck out. They're like, why are you talking to us? Just go get it fixed. When you did that the fucking last time, nobody wanted. Like, look what happened. No Man's Sky. There is no way Hello Games is going to come up with another game that somebody's going to play.
Nope.
It's not with the shit that they pulled with No Man's Sky.
They're probably going to change their name.
Yeah, they just went straight off the grid and wouldn't talk to anybody with all the problems that they had. We're like, basically the Gun Media is actually saying stuff like, hey, we know this is fucked. Like, we'll get it fixed. We've hired outside sources, so like, let it happen. And people are still shitting on them. But that's the nature of the internet now, right?
It
like,
probably shouldn't take 5 days to get up some servers, though.
True, I do agree with that, but they were only expecting maximum 30,000. It would probably run pretty shit at 30,000 even.
Yeah.
Like at that
much.
much.
Why would you only predict 30,000 people though?
Because
it's
it's
Friday the 13th.
That's a huge, like, I don't understand. Like, that's like coming out with Call of Duty and being like,
have
there's
like
only
7
people
servers.
playing. It doesn't make sense.
I agree with you there, like, wholeheartedly. Like, Friday the 13th is a big name, but like, do either of you know the first game that came out? Like,
Isn't that your favorite game?
It's my favorite game of all time, but most people fucking hate it. Like,
I've never even heard of it.
It's an NES game, and everybody hated it. I think they were kind of like, man, Friday the 13th is kind of like, look at the movies, for instance.
Yeah.
Movies don't get any money anymore. There's a reason the recent one got canceled is because they just don't make money anymore. Nobody wants to watch them. So I think they were thinking the same thing with the video game. Like, do I agree with it? No, because there's like a serious amount of fucking like hardcore fans. It's like a cult following at this point. And I mean, it's a bigger cult following than like your average smaller movie cult following, but there's a cult following.
To me, it's like if you were to invite someone over to a party and you prepared for 50 people to come, but you've dropped out invitations to all of Canada. And for some reason, more than 50 people show up.
I don't have enough punch. Does anybody have any punch?
You guys are going to have to eat the grass. So how about a burger? It's just like...
There's vegans, right? Vegans go outside, eat the grass.
All vegans graze over here.
Yeah. It was 5 days, we'll have more burgers then. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not acceptable at the same time. So
Agreed.
Like, I get why people would be totally upset.
Yeah.
Especially when you have the funding and the money to do something about it. And if you have to push back your release date, like, to me, it just seems like you have to adhere to the customer more than
the community you're looking at. Though there is no way to please them.
Yeah, you can't win.
Like No Man's Sky, the game everyone said they should push back the release date. They did several times, and they got death threats every time.
Yeah, they were scared to leave the building. Like,
play this video game.
That really happened, and that was a 1 month push too. That was only 1 month later.
And then they released it.
You can go fuck yourself.
And they got
thank
even
you,
more
thank you.
threats.
Cheers to that.
They released the game, and they're still getting death threats. They're like, this game sucks. You should have delayed it.
like fuck,
It's great.
you can't fucking win. You just can't, and that's
People
the.
just suck.
Here's the
Yeah.
deal, though, and I think this is the biggest thing that I'm taking from all this is that this game is so fucking good. Like
Yeah,
anybody
you
that
seem
has
to like
played
it.
it's fucking
The
amazing.
few games you've played.
Yeah, I haven't been playing. I played maybe 10 rounds because last night I got on and I just stayed on with my buddy and we played online. Fucking amazing. Like I'll go through a quick match. All of us got dropped in. Jason was running around. Me and my buddy Kevin were fucking stealthing around as much as we can because Jason can sense your movements. Like if you're loud, it'll show. So you gotta be quiet. So we quietly went into one cabin. We're like, hey, look, there's a fucking propeller there, which because you can escape by going in a car, going in a boat, and getting out of here. And but you have to build them together, like get them out. Yeah, so he found the propeller. I'm like, oh shit, okay, grab that propeller. It's hard to find because it's small. So he grabbed it. I'm like, I'm gonna go see if I can find some gas. I went like 3 cabins over, and he was going to the boat. And I'm like, I found the fucking gas, and we're like talking to each other the whole time. Grab the gas, and I jump over, and we fucking pour the gas into the goddamn boat, and he puts the propeller on. Started up, jump in, and we start going. Jason came out of the fucking water and hit the fucking boat like this, but he steered like this, like just missed him, and fucked off out. And we ended up getting like it's so much fun.
It reminds me of, do you remember Zombies from Call of Duty? Like
Yep.
the Infinite Warfare one, where it's like the same deal. Like you got to make it through. Have you played that one?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And you got to make it through the level, and then at the very end you can escape. Like you got to make
way
your
too
route
many
out back to
hours.
the chopper or whatever.
Yeah, it's same sort of
One
thing,
those
man. Like
exciting, yeah.
it's so much fun. Like it's good, and I think a lot of people are so upset because it's that good and they can't play it. I think it's more that problem where No Man's Sky was like, this game is fucking garbage. You promised us this huge thing, and you're giving me like 10 minutes worth of okay sort of entertainment, and then just nothing but
Now
space.
you must be
Hour
$50
if you're really
and now I'm
high.
gonna murder
Yeah.
you.
See, like I think Gun Media is still going to come out on top on this one because as soon as those servers are fixed, people are going to get right back into it. I think people are going to have faith in it because the game is that good.
Yes, but if it takes another week, people are not
They-
going to be happy.
they won't be.
They don't have much of a choice though, because they can't return it.
Yeah, there's no return on this as far as I know. So, but yeah, that's what I've been doing. Like this has been like I was another fucking big tangent on games, but that's what I've been doing for the past week. Like, and I haven't been able to play much of it because I'm like just busy at work and getting ready to go for a trip, and like we're just trying to get all of our finalized stuff. Like we got our tickets now and bought our tickets to the fucking parks that we're gonna be out there. So like honeymoon at Disney World at Magical Kingdom. So
Nice.
yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That's a happy place.
Yeah, I better
The
be
happiest
happy.
place in the world, they say.
That's what I've heard.
I would like to buy 3 tickets of Happy Place. Can you give me my happy?
As happy as possible, please.
But yeah, that's been mine. So anyway, if you didn't know that this is Why the Fuck Not, where 3 guys get around one table and discuss something for all of our viewers' pleasure. Today's topic is fucking interesting as shit. Okay, you know what? You guys go ahead. Say what it is, and I'll go after that.
Dun dun dun. Marijuana.
Oh, shit, yeah. I've got to, like, before we even jump off, and you can understand my standpoint on this, is I used to smoke about, I was a quarter every day or two. I would go through a quarter pot. Like, I smoked a lot with me and my
Quarter
buddy.
is 7 grams.
Yeah. So we do that once every day or two. We just smoke all the time. It was back when I, like, was younger, wasn't working. I did this constantly for years of my life, and then I stopped. Haven't really done it since. You know, like, I've had I dabbled in it recently, which I'm sure will come up later when I talk about it. But, yeah, I don't have a lot of like recent
currently,
opinions.
What's sitting around this panel is a guy who doesn't really smoke at all, a guy who smokes all
Every
the
day.
time, and then a guy
Daily.
who smokes before bed.
Okay.
As like a medicinal use, I would call it.
Well,
as
I
far as
also
I go. It's not so much recreational. It's more
I also
medicinal.
smoke medicinal. Like I'm working on getting a card. There is a recreational aspect to it. But yeah,
Mine was
of
always
course.
recreational when I was doing it. It was just to kind of like it was honestly it was to listen to music, and that was the biggest thing. The difference between smoking and not smoking. It took me almost 5 years to listen to music and enjoy it again.
Well, like you got to think like a lot of the songs and a lot of the music was created from people who were stoned, right?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
understand it a lot more when you're stoned. Like you get where they're coming from, you understand the music a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
better when you're stoned because that's how they created it, right? So
Yeah, I had
that
like
makes sense.
hundreds of CDs that I used to like pop in the car. Like I used to smoke out in my car. I just go in the car, smoke a joint. I didn't drive anywhere. I just smoke a joint, pop a CD on, listen to it like surround sound sort of deal. Me and my friends used to come. They'd come over and we'd do this. Afterwards, it took me. I would try and do that like every now and again. It just didn't have the same feel. I didn't want to sit in the car anymore. So whatever, I'd come in here and try and listen in here. It didn't do anything. It took about 5 years before I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy this album. I want to listen through it through and through. And then something clicked. Like it was like the same sort of like euphoric feeling I was having, and like I was like, oh, I get it again. It just took a long time for me to like disassociate the feeling of being stoned and listening to music versus just listening to music, because there is a difference, and I've found that throughout the years now. And
So why is weed legal?
Ooh.
Illegal.
Well,
Sorry.
let's get into a little bit of the history of it.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's do that.
Okay, so the proper name for weed is cannabis. Cannabis goes back thousands of years. They talk about it in the Bible, not specifically cannabis, but they mention
They call it something else, right?
anointing oils and a bunch of holy magical fruit.
What's frankincense? Is that
No, that's
okay? That's a different
something
spice,
else.
right?
Yeah,
Okay, I
that's a
couldn't remember.
spice.
Okay, go ahead.
But yeah, even just looking at the Bible, some people will go back and tell you that the entire Bible is a mushroom, a fertility mushroom cult. But that's a topic
That's a
for
whole
another
nother
time.
Wow, that's actually fucking like mind blowing. I'm thinking about
there's
stuff that I know,
it
and that
makes
makes a
a lot
lot
of
more
sense
sense.
when
Yeah.
There's a guy
Anyway.
who wrote a whole book on it. The sacred mushroom of the cross.
See, here's the deal: is Jesus didn't go and get fucking crucified. He just went to the washroom, and the guy was so fucking stoned when he came out. He's like, man, he's back to life again.
He's back to life.
He came out.
God.
We've just offended so many.
Yeah,
people.
Yeah, no,
I don't think we have a big
That was the
Christian
joke,
demographic.
okay?
we're just joking.
All right, so cannabis has been around for a long time. Canvas, the word canvas, like when painting, that comes from cannabis, which is hemp. Now there's hemp and there is cannabis. Technically, they're the same thing, but the weed most people think of, cannabis, the nugs, the shit the wacky tobacco, that is actually the flower of the hemp plant. Now hemp comes from the stalk. Or like the stems of the plant, and it's like the inside fiber. Now,
It could be used to.
hemp is an extremely resilient thing. Hemp is one of the strongest and most lightweight fibers in the world, and it grows extremely fast compared to, say, paper, like trees. A tree will take 30 years to grow. Sure, you'll get a lot out of it, but if you have like maybe 100 square feet of hemp, that will probably grow as much as a tree, and you can harvest it 4 times in a year.
It was just harder to harvest, right? To like break down into like cream.
Yeah,
back in the day.
When you
Like
when
it
you
used to
say
be, right?
when you
Yeah,
say
back
harvest,
in
are you
the day.
talking the bud, or are you talking the plant
No,
itself?
this is hemp. This is talking about the actual fibers inside.
This okay, all right. Yeah, I'm just checking to see if like you can harvest 4 times of the fiber or the actual like bud 4 times.
No.
The bud you can.
Well, yeah, there's
But
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's. Yeah,
Okay.
we're on
Sorry,
it.
yeah,
on it. on
we're still going into the history of
there's
this.
no bud on trees, but yeah, okay.
it.
Oh, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. I thought you were talking. I'm sorry, I got fucking lost in there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so hemp. There was an invention called the decorticator, which made it incredibly easier for people to process hemp. I believe it made it 4 times as easy to process. It made it easier to process hemp than basically processing trees. And they were starting to realize it was a much better resource because you could process it easier, it was stronger, it was lighter. Cheaper. Yeah, you could grow it a lot faster. Back in the day, a lot of shit was made from hemp.
George W. Bush's parachute was made from hemp.
The Declaration of Independence was
Hemp.
written on
Hemp
cannabis
paper,
cannabis paper.
I mean, like, there's more uses for it than, like, it's also a viable source of fuel, is it not?
Well, back in the day, I don't know the exact date, but Ford, he made a car that was made out of hemp plastic. Completely hemp plastic, and it ran off hemp power, like some sort of hemp fuel source.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought, is that they were able to, like, make some sort of fuel out of it. I don't know how
Yeah.
it works. Like, I'm assuming through the oils of it. But
Yeah, I'm not sure like how good it would be if it's stronger than gasoline, but this was a thing. They had a hemp car, which is amazing. I would drive the shit out.
Yeah, that happened in Cheech and Chong, I'm pretty sure. That was...
Yeah.
George Washington used to have hemp plants or marijuana plants.
Yeah,
like that.
marijuana plants. Well, they found evidence that Shakespeare had a bunch of pot pipes.
I heard that too, yeah.
Yeah, there's
That was more recent, wasn't it?
that was pretty recent, actually.
Yeah, I remember hearing that very recently. But it makes a lot of sense. Like, a lot of the most creative minds are dabbling in either like some sort of like drug in some way, shape, or form, regardless of if it's hemp or if it's like acid or if it's heroin or whatever it is. A lot of the artists kind of do this. Nicotine. A lot of these things help stimulate your mind, right? So that makes a lot of sense that that's where it would go. And, like, especially in the hands of those people, like a great leader like George Washington, or like a great screenwriter, or like Shakespeare and stuff. Like, it makes a lot of sense. Fucking Kurt Cobain, same deal. You know, like, he dabbled in drugs. A great songwriter. Like, it just happens all the time.
So if there's all these benefits, where did we go wrong? Why did it become illegal?
Politics. That's where it all comes from. William Randolph Hearst had a big hand in getting weed made illegal. William Randolph Hearst, he owned a bunch of newspaper publication places. And so he had a big hand in processing paper. And when the decorticator was invented, he realized...
Decorticator is what breaks down hemp.
Yeah, which makes hemp much easier to process. It was a massive invention at the time.
Right.
So he kind of realized that this could put him out of business if people started growing hemp because it's much better. Instead of being like, hey, maybe I should use hemp, since he already had like thousands of acres of trees, he's just like, hey, fuck it, we'll just make this illegal.
So he was like pulp presser then, like he just went for paper, like...
Yeah, that's what he did.
So he's protecting his investment, essentially.
That, and he also owned a bunch of newspaper companies.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense, yeah. It would make a lot of sense for somebody that does newspapers to have a lot of stock and money into
so
the
the guy had a
itself.
lot of money and a lot of interest keeping...
And people listened to him because he was putting out newspapers. So what he did is he started putting out newspapers, basically talking shit about weed. He did, man.
Is that the name of the paper, Talking Shit About Weed?
Talking Shit About Weed.
Episode 1.
Yeah, he funded a lot of, like, anti-drug campaigns or marijuana campaigns.
Basically a bunch of propaganda that they knew wasn't real. Yeah. Like, have you ever seen, what's that movie? That great propaganda movie.
You took a Reefer Madness?
Yeah, Reefer Madness.
That was so...
I love that movie.
If you smoked a reefer, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Rape people and die.
It was a giant propaganda film. They knew it was propaganda.
He funded it, didn't he?
I'm not sure.
Funding? Okay.
I'm not sure who funded it.
Okay.
But this movie was basically about like this teenager who smokes weed and then like kills a guy or some shit, and like just crazy propaganda. So this was the type of shit they were doing.
How funny is it that propaganda film has been bought out by an actual like advocate of weed and now own the rights to it, and they've released it on Blu-ray and stuff. Yeah, they released it on Blu-ray to people so that they can get stoned and laugh at it.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things to do as a teenager.
Yeah, it's literally happened that way. Yeah, wow. It's come full circle. It took 70 years, but goddamn it happened.
So basically, they started slanderous talk about weed. Like if you remember when people were saying like it was only for jazz musicians, because jazz musicians at this time were mostly black, and so they were into the weed.
I don't think that they were any more into it than any other people, though. That it was the same sort of artist thing. You know what I mean? Like
it was. I don't know. It's hard to say. I guess people were more open about it if they were in the jazz scene, I guess.
Yeah, it was like performers or show performers, right? And jazz just happened to be...
At one point, it was actually... Right? They decriminalized it for jazz performers.
That's fucking... Crazy. I've never heard of decriminalizing for one section of people before. Seriously?
Never wanted to play jazz until that time.
Well, it was prescribed in the 40s to, like what you said, musicians. It was prescribed to soldiers. It was, like, for labor pains. It was prescribed for nausea.
Before that, actually.
Before the 40s?
There's a bottle from 1902 of cannabis indica oil, like an extract, which was basically probably an edible oil.
Now, would that be for like almost like an anesthesia, like an anesthetic for something? Do you think,
they probably just prescribed it for colds.
Yeah, well,
I mean, the 1900s.
But they used to fucking give coke for indigestion, so.
Oh yeah, like every drug that is illegal today was, well, most of them were used.
Sanctioned at one point.
Yeah, were used in the medical field.
Yeah, I've always heard that LSD you could buy at like countertops at fucking.
Delicid was the name of the actual pharmaceutical, which was a vial of acid that was in 300 milligram drops, which is strong as fuck.
So like I know it's going a little off topic, but I could never figure out what would be the purpose of that. You know, like in the medical field, you know, like what did they think that like, oh, we'll sell this to people over the counter for people to buy? But
it wasn't necessarily an over-counter medication that anyone could just buy.
Oh, okay, I was always under that impression.
No, this was for psychiatrists and stuff like this. They
there we go.
Like when we talked about the LSD, this was used to basically You would give it to yourself so you would know what someone with schizophrenia is going through. That was the closest they could use with it.
That
They
kind of
thought
makes sense.
that would bring the closest symptoms to it. So they started making weed illegal. They started spread. Well, actually, it wasn't illegal at this time, but they started spreading rumors. Like, one of the rumors was that marijuana would cause black people to rape white women and go after white women. That was a big thing.
Have you heard that?
I have never heard that.
Yeah,
That's fucking
yeah.
crazy.
No, yeah, that's a real thing.
That's
It
so
was
fucking
both
insane.
Black and Mexicans, right? Yeah.
Like what fucking trips me out the most on all this is that back then they would tie a race into it that way. Like they just like why a white woman? Why wouldn't it just be like it would cause them to rape? Like does it matter if it's a white woman
They were
versus a
only
Mexican
concerned
woman
about
versus
white
a
women. at
'Cause,
this
yeah,
time.
I guess we're the
Exactly,
dumping the concern on there. Like oh no, we can't have our white women get raped.
Yeah,
But-
can't have
Okay,
a
that
lot
makes a
of
little more
children.
sense. But it just like never understood that though. Like why it's like
a good
how
way
it
to
gets
turn
raised.
people, right?
Yeah, like
yeah.
oh shit, my
As
wife is
drunk
white.
yeah, exactly.
My wife, I
My
cannot.
wife is white.
Virgo.
This affects me now. So basically, they started demonizing it around the 30s. In 1930, the head of the FBI, Harry Anslinger, that's when they started really cracking down on it. And then in 1935, Franklin D. Roosevelt, he had a message on the radio, basically, where he was saying weed was bad and all this sort of stuff.
This is right around the Great Depression too. Like this is where,
30s.
yeah,
Yeah, the good days.
The good
Actually,
old
there was
days.
nothing good about them.
yeah. This was a very rough time for people.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was right around then. I wonder if like curiosity, if like the recreational use of it increased at that point. Like if they,
More than likely.
For soldiers and
Yeah.
depression and for
I would
like
think
all,
so.
right? Like,
Yeah, just-
so it was I don't know, I think it was more than it was in the 60s or 70s, right? It was
I'm trying to think of where they were. Well, I guess they were in Europe around this time, like the army. Oh no, I guess they weren't.
no, they wouldn't be in
Not there
Europe.
yet,
Because there was
no.
nothing,
No,
not until
there's
the
nothing
early
yet, no.
40s where the war starts breaking out again.
Okay.
This was the Depression. That's what was in the 30s.
Yeah. Because I know in Vietnam, that weed started becoming pretty big with soldiers because they were going out there and they were like actually smoking it out of their rifles.
Well, from what I understand, is it was fucking growing wild out there. Like,
Oh,
they
yeah.
just, they'd find it and they just, yeah.
Well, it's the same with like Afghanistan. It's a weed. It's literally a weed. It's low grade weed. Just grows everywhere there. That's why in places that have shitty weed, they
Nothing like shoving a gun in your mouth to take a toke.
yeah, that's where the term shotgun comes from.
Shit. Okay.
There's videos on YouTube you can look up where it's people like they put it like in the barrel too, and they're like smoking out of the barrel.
Gosh.
It's great. I would totally try it.
So your nose gets blown off.
Yeah.
Worth it.
That was the best toke I've ever had.
Yeah. So
So
around.
what-
Sorry. Go ahead.
No. So what happened after the 30s is where I was getting at.
Yeah. They started making it illegal at this point, from what I can tell.
Well, Controlled Substance Act of 1970 is kind of where it
1970s.
like became like this is the terrible drug and
Yeah,
Well,
mostly.
it basically got
It was the Nixon movement, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's when
brought it
they
in? Yeah.
made it illegal. At this point, they were just demonizing it.
so the Substance Act of 1970s. Weed was like alongside with heroin and LSD. Like it was,
That's
it,
fucking
it's,
insane
it was
to think
considered,
about.
Like a class 1.
It
So you
still
can
is
go,
today.
and it still is today. So even in the 1970s, if you got caught with possession, like if you had possession, your first time possession charge, even if it was like a low amount, you can go up to prison for 10 years.
You can go higher than that. There's actually I'm going to bring it back to music here, but John Lennon's song John Sinclair is all about John Sinclair, who's a regular hippie that just had pot on him, and he got busted and he had life imprisonment because he got dealing charges on it.
Well, think it, like how many of the jails are full with people?
Two-thirds.
Just with 2/3. So
That's
2/3
insane.
of that's insane.
Our,
think of
our
all that money in
non-violent
jail.
drug offenders is 2/3 of the people in prison.
Well, that's
In
where
a-
And
in
a
America.
huge chunk of them are
Yeah.
marijuana, right? Like so.
in the government eyes, like criminalization or just criminals in general is a business to them. They make money off of that,
Oh
right?
yeah,
100%.
private prisons.
Oh, 100%.
So like it doesn't make financial sense for them to try and change that for people that go in for these simple things like
if
this.
the
Like
prisons weren't full, the economy would shut down.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the prisons need to be full. They need to be putting people in there.
Like
It's weird to think
at
of it
this
like a
time-
business.
It is.
There were mandatory minimums of 2 years and fines up to $20,000. So if you get caught your first time, mandatory 2 years. At least.
That's fucking no 3 strikes, you're out. Just get the fuck in.
First time.
Pass, go.
You go to jail, and then you're put in jail with like other criminals who have
Like
murdered
real
and killed
fucking
people,
criminals. Like,
and you were smoking because you had back pain.
As,
That's how you're put in prison.
ask anyone who's been
Fuck.
to jail,
Murderers.
they've learned more about being a criminal from jail
being
than
in jail,
anywhere else.
For sure.
Yeah.
oh yeah, well you
You're
can't.
surrounding yourself by criminals.
The thing, you can't jump back into society out of being there. Like, most people have that stigma of not hiring somebody that's been to jail, and I think you have to legally disclose that you've been in jail before you.
have to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking ridiculous.
So you're basically ruining someone's life.
Yeah.
by-
Yeah.
Definitely.
If you were to go and smoke because your back was hurting and this was something that helped it.
Now,
It's
this,
fucking sick.
this 3 strike rule you were talking about, that came in like around 1984 under the Reagan administration, where they're a little
Progressive
bit
Reagan.
more lenient. Yeah, good old Reagan.
The
Ronnie
Gipper.
Commie, they used to call him.
All right, the fucking Gipper.
Keeper.
So, when it first started being legalized for not recreational, but medical use, the first place in America was actually California, and this was in 1996.
96. It was
Yeah.
early as 96.
For
Really?
Yeah.
medicinal marijuana.
Medicinal marijuana in California.
I knew California was first, but I thought it was later. I thought it was in the 2000s. Huh.
It became a lot more prevalent. This is just for people with like cancer, AIDS, glaucoma, shit like that.
Oh, and like fucking let them have whatever they want. There's some rough times.
Yeah,
Like, I'm sure it's not for like stage 1. It's probably more in like the stage 3, stage 4 cancer patients and stuff like that. Like something. I'm sure this helps. Like from what I understand with cancer is one of the things it helps with is 1, the pain. 2, it also helps bring back an appetite, is what I've heard.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
you lose your appetite when you're going through chemotherapy. Like I have a friend that went through it. He couldn't eat a thing. Like anything he tried to eat, he would just throw it up.
That's why it's like bulimics use it, anorexia, right? Like people smoke, they can prescribe weed to them because
Never even fucking thought of that. That
Eat,
makes
right?
sense.
Like it's-
Yeah, the want to
Yeah.
eat.
They also give it to people with Alzheimer's, which seems kind of
Alzheimer's, yeah.
counterproductive. But it works, apparently.
Like helps them come back too.
Yeah.
Really?
Even though it helps me forget everything. And it
Well, I
helps
mean,
them
if you're
remember.
already forgetting a lot of shit, maybe that's just like, oh, we'll give you a little bit.
I think
right?
it's a calming thing, right? Like it brings them back
Yeah.
down like a million notches.
And I
Well,
mean-
Alzheimer's is like close to like a different, like a mixture of MS and it's not this, but it's kind of like closely related to MS and what's the other one that I can't remember it right now, dementia or something. But it's like they kind of lose control and shit. This probably helps them bring back control. It's just in like more of the neurons in your head and stuff, like the way that it fires isn't firing properly. So maybe that actually helps it bring it back. That makes a little bit of sense to me actually.
Yeah. So there's like countless things that it's medicinally it was good for in the 90s for sure, and still.
Yeah, so
today.
we're on
So
96
it's-
right now.
Medicinal
So
marijuana was definitely something that needed to be grown, and
I think
kind of got sanctioned.
this is where things start getting real interesting in the history of it, right? Like this is where, like, because it got super interesting at the beginning, where everything was like, oh, like they had no fucking regulations on anything, you could just go. But now they're starting to realize what this
it
can
went
actually
from,
do for people.
Exactly, like it was everyone smoked it. It was a normal herb plant in the ground to someone using political interests and money to basically criminalize it, filling up prisons, to now going back and saying, okay, there is some medical purposes to this. There is a reason to grow it.
Well,
is-
correct. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I didn't really have much.
Okay, I was just gonna say corrective. Or, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the war on drugs started basically with marijuana being the front source of it, right?
Yeah, that was Nixon.
Yeah.
Those
Good old
shitty
Nixon.
ads he used to put out.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen some of those where the dog's
Yeah.
like talking to the kid and stuff like that. He thinks the dog's talking to him.
All those groups like Normal and all those and Dare, they're the worst. They're just straight misinformation.
I think it's so funny,
Government
though.
funded propaganda.
Totally.
I've like my favorite one from when I was when I used to smoke all the time. There was like a guy going through the drive-through, and they'd said a joke and they drive away, and then they do it again. They said a joke and they drive away, and they do it again and they drive away. The 4th time they do it, they hit a girl on the way out. And I was like, "Don't smoke marijuana." Like, I've never done that. 2 times is all I'm gonna do.
Clearly made by people who've never smoked pot. Or that one where the person's like melting into the couch.
Oh
Have you
yeah.
ever seen
so
that? Like,
sick.
I want that shit.
Now there is some things to say. Do we got more on the history?
Uh,
Where do we go
Well,
from
we're only on 96,
Where do
right?
we go from 96?
Well, look at where we're sitting at this point. So there's still a gap here that we're
Let's
missing.
talk about scheduling. In America, it is scheduled under, well, I guess in Canada too, it is a Schedule 1 substance federally. So what this means, Schedule 1 is the highest rating for illegal drugs. So this is drugs like heroin, LSD, peyote, and MDMA, which you think of the most dangerous drugs, these are not what come to mind. The heroin, yes.
Heroin for sure, yeah.
Heroin could be pretty
Let's
dangerous.
throw weed in that pile.
And LSD, man. And mushrooms, mushrooms. Peyote's in there.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Come on. What
I
are you
think
doing here?
statistically, and this is an older statistic that I remember when I was first looking into it, that there was only one known case, and it isn't fully known, of somebody dying from
No one
marijuana.
has died. There's
But
no
I was just about to say the one that they had was not determined as it. It was just they thought it might have been a contributing factor. That's it.
Well,
And that was just the one.
If you put contributing factors, it could be millions.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
could be high on caffeine. You could be high on
exactly.
a million things you could be high
But there's
on,
like
contributing
zero,
to whatever it
like
is,
when you go, like it was statistically speaking against
but
alcohol.
the thing is, you can't
Alcohol or
overdose.
cigarettes.
Yeah, you can't overdose like on marijuana.
The studies I've seen show that to overdose on marijuana, you would have to smoke your entire body weight in less than 20 minutes. Which
So
is
you
physically...
cannot
Challenge!
do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You cannot
I
do
mean,
that.
you could fuck yourself up pretty
You'd be
hard
passed
with
out before
edibles
that
now.
happened.
Yeah, you wouldn't get that far. Like, if you think about the amount of smoke that would have to go into your lungs would probably collapse long before
yeah.
that happened.
Yeah, totally.
Like, there's no chance of that
So it
happening.
can happen. You can't overdose.
There
But, like,
was a study back in the day, this is where they got a lot of their data saying marijuana was harmful. They were doing studies on mice where they were trying to see what the LD50, which is the lethal dose for 50%.
Yeah.
So this would be like, oh, how much weed can kill you. So they took a bunch of lab rats and gave them like...
Not an elephant this time.
No, they went a little smaller. And I can't remember if they gave them gas masks or if they just like put them in a box and filled the entire thing up with weed smoke to the point where there was no oxygen.
Well, that would kill them.
They all
like,
died.
Yeah, obviously.
And they were like, look how bad marijuana is.
hey, do that with a car. Do that with anything that
Yeah,
like, produces
I know.
any type of carbon. Like,
There's no oxygen. And they're like, yeah, they died from weed, man. It's dangerous.
Study.
the
I don't think I
logistics
said this.
behind it.
Marijuana was actually a slang word for weed. The term marijuana doesn't mean weed at all. It means Mexican tobacco. The people who were making weed illegal, marijuana illegal, had no idea that they were making weed, cannabis, illegal. They thought they were making this wild Mexican tobacco illegal. Just fucking crazy.
Well, I mean, that makes sense though. Anytime something comes up in Mexican history that like could provide some sort of substance for their country, America shits on it as soon as possible. They always kind of have.
Yeah.
Like they don't let them thrive in any way, shape, or form. So like calling it Mexican tobacco is enough for America to be like, okay, we got to shut this down before it becomes a big thing.
Well, they also wanted marijuana. Like it was this fancy
Juana?
Mexican word to scare people. It's literally, they were playing off racism.
Juana.
Like, it's crazy. So back to the schedules. Like all these drugs are heroin, LSD, marijuana, peyote, ecstasy. So Schedule 1 drugs are supposed to mean that they have no medical uses. So we know that's not true for most of these drugs. Maybe not heroin, but it is an opiate.
Yeah, I gotta
But, like,
see that
ecstasy-
fucking prescription of like fucking I gotta get heroin.
Dude, they
Fuck.
give you fentanyl, which is
basically, yeah.
10 times as strong as heroin.
I think it's something important. I think it's like important to think like what a drug really is and why. Like, so weed is categorized as a drug, but like what people don't understand, a drug has this like bad stigma to it. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
people have no problem when you say,
There's a difference
Shoppers
between
Drug
medication
Mart
and
or
drug,
something
right?
Like that. It's like a drug mart, and no one really coincides. You know what I mean? Thinks of it as.
People don't think
But
of
Tylenol is a drug.
caffeine.
Caffeine is a drug.
You know how many people
Like,
are addicted to caffeine who can't start their day without
I am.
caffeine in the morning?
I
Yeah,
am,
and
yeah.
no one looks
I've-
down on them.
I've got like one of my favorite quotes I've ever heard is from Bill Nye the Science Guy. Actually, it's on one of his recent episodes. He goes,
Oh, where he says gender is fluid?
Isn't Bill Nye just a side thing? Is he not a scientist? Isn't he? An
He is.
engineer?
No,
Not
he's
at
an
all.
engineer.
He's an engineer.
But he's got a lot of
Okay.
doctorate. Like he's smart. Like he's one of the smartest in the world. He said, "What do you call an experimental drug that works?" a fucking drug. That's like it's like there's no such. If it works, it's gonna go. Like there's nothing to fucking.
Well,
it's not experimental if it works. So if
we're
they're
seeing
calling,
that
they're
now.
like, oh, experimental medicine, all this shit. It's called experimental because it doesn't fucking work.
Well, we're seeing this with MDMA. In the 60s, MDMA was legal for psychopathic. God damn it. For
Psychosomatic.
yeah, where they're using it in like counseling and psychiatrists and shit, and then they made it illegal because it got onto the streets in Texas and people were doing it, and now it's at the point where it's almost back to being legal.
Question: it's kind of a little off topic when it comes to therapists. What type of doctorate do they have that allows them to prescribe medicine? Like, do they have to go through the same rigor,
I think
as a doctor, or like where's that come in?
I think if you've got a degree and you're a doctor, you can basically prescribe drugs. Is that
I
right?
don't think so.
There's got to be some sort of restriction.
My brother just passed medical school. He's officially a doctor now. Like, he's going into emergency medicine.
Congratulations,
Technically,
Aaron's
he's been working there for a while at HSC, but he cannot write prescriptions, as far as I know.
Oh, okay.
Even after getting past the school.
Yeah, he's a doctor, but I don't think he has the capability of
point can
writing
you do that?
prescriptions. I don't know.
Interesting.
Must be like a certain amount of years in the field, maybe.
I
We'll
think it's
figure it out.
a certain type of
Back to
doctorate.
it.
Like psychiatrists, I know they can prescribe pills.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm asking, right? Like that doesn't make
We
sense.
need
That
a Noel. We need a Noel sitting on this side of the room that just like researches things like,
Ah.
like
Jamie?
You know, like Jamie. Yeah, we need-
You know
Jamie,
what?
pull that up, please.
Pull that Sorry, we gotta figure this out right now.
I think
We
we
need one
hire.
of them.
We'll hire Kyle. He'll do it for us.
I'll do it.
Okay, so back onto the scheduling of drugs for the third time.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Schedule 2 drugs. These are things like hydromorphine, methadone, oxycontin, fentanyl, opium, codeine. So these have some uses. So these are
And
most...
a lot of those are already in prescription drugs.
Yeah, most of these are
them.
prescription
Yeah,
drugs,
okay.
except opium, but...
Opium's within prescription, is it not? I thought they have like they
Yeah,
give
it is.
prescribe opiums for rehab,
Yeah.
like trying to get themselves off of
I-
certain things.
No, that would be methadone.
Or there's
They would
methadone?
not
Okay.
give you opium.
Okay, I thought it was an opium.
It's an opiate.
An
Opium
opiate, okay,
is
yeah.
where these
So
things
similar
like heroin
to,
comes
but-
from.
Helps you get off.
Yeah, opium is where heroin comes from.
Yeah.
All
Oh
these
no, I know
drugs,
that. Yeah.
They
But like that's
use-
what I was thinking. Somebody on heroin uses like a style of opiate to get themselves off.
Yeah,
like
like,
slowly, like weaning
methadone.
themselves off, and
Yeah, that's usually
Their
methadone.
withdrawals.
yeah. So
Well,
I think your
and
body
they-
shuts down on withdrawals sometimes. Like you can die just from the withdrawal itself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of them.
Sorry, continue.
So the thing with these drugs is they're saying that they have no medical uses, yet the American government actually holds the patent on medical marijuana. So that's kind of contradictory in itself.
Well, it sounds like almost like preemptive. Like they know it's going to get legal at some point. So let's get this.
Well, see what it does. I think when you're making it legal now, if we're talking about current date, like we're talking about now, roughly, Colorado was what the first state to do it.
Recreational.
Recreational?
Yeah, recreational. Yeah.
And that was a couple of years ago.
So, like, when I think it's a lot of it is like you realize when you're talking about the war on drugs, and obviously it was a failure. Now, if you're doing something like your taxation, like you're taxing marijuana, you're basically taking the drugs. Like, if someone's gonna smoke weed, or if someone's gonna they're either gonna buy it from a drug dealer, or now they're gonna buy it from a store, right, or an outlet, or a
Yeah.
dispensary, or whatever you want to call it. So, like, and they figured, and it makes a lot more sense. Is like what Colorado grossed $3 billion in tax dollars
First year,
in their
yeah.
first year. So $3 billion in tax dollars, where it's like that's $3 billion that cartels do not have, right? That was
Exactly.
a trade that cartels couldn't make anymore. So you're taking $3 billion out of the cartel and you're putting into at least the government pocket, where you can put it towards roads and
Schools and shit. Yeah.
more beneficial things. And it's literally just knowing that people are going to get it, whether it's going to be from a drug dealer or whether it's going to be from
I mean,
so let's
dispensary. If
let's
you're
put
gonna
that
smoke
fucking
it, you're
warning
gonna
on it.
smoke So,
Colorado is the greatest we can look at. Their violent crime has gone down. Their drunk driving,
Yeah.
their impaired driving has gone down.
That's
they
that's fucking
increased-
numbers right there. That's important.
They increased the how strict they are on driving while high, and still their impaired driving numbers have gone down.
I agree
it's-
with that, though,
it's
'cause,
an
like,
amazing thing.
I'm not condoning
yeah.
getting stoned and driving, but when I used to do it, I would drive all the time. I never really had issues doing it. Like, I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying people should do this, but like I found I was more aware of my surroundings, if
Okay,
anything.
well, you've been to the point where you've smoked weed every day, right?
Oh yeah, I was there.
When you just when you smoke weed not very often.
Yeah, once in a while, you couldn't do it. There's no chance.
It gets you high as fuck. But when you're at the point with us, where you're smoking weed like pretty much daily, it gets you to a point where it's you feel more normal than anything.
Well, I can contest to this too, because just relatively recently, I tried some because I'm trying to help myself with sleeping. I thought it might help, and I took some stuff that was like way more fucking powerful than I probably should have taken, because I got super paranoid. I was up for like 5. It didn't help with sleep, I can fucking tell you that. I was up late at night. I had to wake Steph up because I was so paranoid about how I was feeling on the inside. I'm like, I was worried that it was like something wasn't working right, and I know it was just the paranoia behind it, but it had been so long. If I took those things before, it probably wouldn't have even fucking affected me. Like when I was doing this constantly, I probably wouldn't have even noticed it. But because I haven't done it in years, and I just was trying something to see if I can get some sleep out of it, fuck man, it totally screwed with my system. It's creeped me out, and I was fucked for like 2-3 days because of it.
See that I would have to say is psychosomatic.
Yeah.
For the 2-3 days, sure, the first day you were fucked. I'll give you that.
I took it late at night, and I was still feeling it the next morning.
Yeah, but
and then for most of the day,
for it to.
I used to always call it the dumbs when I was a kid. Like you'd kind of feel a little shitty the next day.
Yeah, that I'll give you. But to have full effects for more than 24 hours is probably just in your head.
It might have been. Yeah. Not disputing that. I'm just all I know is how I felt for 3 days, and it was just, by the third day I was starting to feel good.
Edibles are way different than smoked marijuana. Edibles can fuck you up.
Oh yeah, I found that out.
Yeah, like edibles will make you hallucinate, because edibles, when you're smoking weed, the primary drug you're ingesting is delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, and then there's also CBDs, which are cannabinoids. So that THC and CBD. When you're eating weed, it is actually being broken down into your liver, and your liver is processing it, and it's broken down into 5 some complicated thing, and then it's like 5 times more psychoactive when it's being processed through your liver.
And it's more of a body high.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like
for sure, body high.
It wasn't like I was hallucinating or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I just like I felt like I was being like kind of moved around, like my body was moving in positions that it shouldn't be.
And
like
the
I was like,
thing too,
like I could feel breathing. You know,
it's
like,
one of those
weird.
things too. It's like if you had, it's like if you get really jittery after 1 cup of coffee, but then you have 3 cups of coffee. Like you have 1 cup of coffee for like the period of a month, and now a cup of coffee doesn't do much. Right? You're building a tolerance. Is basically what it is. So I think when you're getting to that state of paranoia, it's you hitting that point where it's like it's not the jitters, but it's you just being unaware of what your body's doing, right? Like
that's absolutely what it was.
How you're interpreting what's happening to your body or what you're digesting, or it's just your body saying like this is a new thing, right? So it's easy to freak out and to get paranoid about it. I don't think that like necessarily like if you knew what you were coming into and you've had this body high before and you knew what kind of paranoia was coming, you wouldn't get that scared feeling that you would. Like you would just get the body high.
It would just be like a bite high,
or you get whatever, right? You wouldn't get this paranormal with it, but
yeah, no, and I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, like my whole point was that like the difference between like doing it once in a while and going like
definitely.
Yeah, because like me being like on that like before, like I said, if I took the stuff before when I was like smoking all the time, I don't even think I would have felt it. Like just a guess.
I took the same stuff you had, and I took more than twice the dosage, and I felt nothing.
Yeah,
but that's just I have an insanely high tolerance.
I was sitting next to a guy when I was playing poker not too long ago, and he was a 70-year-old conservative guy, and he was talking about the league because in Canada we're kind of in the process of legalizing marijuana.
Politics.
We can talk about that later. That's a whole other thing. But basically, he was saying like he asked me, he's like, "Do you think it's a good thing that we're trying to legalize marijuana?" And I gave my opinion on it, and I asked him the same thing, and he said, "You know what? Marijuana is terrible. It's bad." And then I was like, "Well, have you ever smoked it before?" And he said, "I smoked it one time when I was 16." And I'm like, "So you're going off a bias from when you smoked it."
When you were
50
16,
years ago,
your first time,
which we all know what we get from the first time. Either we're not going to get
or you're just going to panic,
or you're going into panic mode because this is a new thing, right? It's like your mind is just all over the map. So you can't give up. It's an unfair bias basically to say
he's probably done zero research,
and he's done zero research. But this is how
his research is given to him.
A lot of the population is basing its bias on is like an experience maybe they've had, maybe not, but it's from years ago.
It's getting a lot better now.
Yeah, we're more liberal now than we ever were, right?
Our parents' generation. Sorry, the drug I was trying to talk about was 11-hydroxy metabolite. That would have pissed me off if I didn't bring that up.
Okay.
Our generation, like my parents' generation. My mom grew up hating weed. Well, I guess she was sort of in the hippie generation.
Well, in the 60s, right? 70s,
Yeah.
it was like...
Yeah,
But
my mom was the
nowadays,
same way.
rebellious. And...
You go to older people and they're more open about trying edibles or weed for pain and shit like that. And I think that's amazing.
No, it's such a difference from what it was. Like, I look back on myself, like when I was smoking pot, my dad was like advocate about like, you should not do this, is fucking bad. But I've been asked more recently, like, when you have a kid, what are you going to do when that happens? And I'm like, well, I'm going to fucking support it. And I'll just be like, be smart about what you're doing and educate them a little bit on what these things can be.
Here's the thing with marijuana. Okay, there's definitely pros and cons.
Oh, absolutely.
About the pros and cons,
Definitely.
because there is cons. Like, there's no doubt about it.
I love weed. I am not one of those hippie bastards
I would
who
not
say it's going to
tell
cure
everyone.
everything.
No, exactly.
neither.
You can't say that. And when a mind is developing, when a child's mind's developing, until they're like 21 or 22
18
or
to
whatever
21,
it is,
yeah.
when they're like in that time frame, if they're smoking marijuana, it is going to kill brain cells.
It is
like
it's not necessarily going to kill brain cells, but it is definitely damaging to a developing mind.
Yes, absolutely,
100%. So there's no argument there, right? So so we're not telling young kids to go smoke marijuana.
Not at all.
There's a time and a place, and that is called college.
Yes.
Everything's college.
But it's okay, but don't shun it once you're at that legal age, and once you know your mind's developed and you want to experiment with.
Yeah.
I think, like, and this is just, now I'm going to jump into my personal thing, is like, I don't know what I don't know half of the drugs that's in a sleeping pill. I don't know half of the drugs that's in a painkiller. Like, I don't know, like, the chemical compounds that are mixed to put in these pills. Like, I don't know half of them. I could look at the back of a bottle and I couldn't tell you what half of the things that they put in these pills are. But people take them blindly without knowing really what's in them. Like,
because we're told that it's okay.
We're told it's okay, like a Tylenol,
Look
for
at
example,
Tylenol.
or anything, right? Like, people will blindly take a Tylenol because they know it makes them feel better, and the government says, and society has said, Tylenol's okay to take. You have a Tylenol, right? Like, everyone asks, they got a headache, where's the Tylenol, right? It's because it's been this media that's been pushed on us, and this advertising, basically, that's been pushed on us, but a lot of people can tell you every ingredient that's in and what the counter part of that ingredient is into a Tylenol.
Well, not only that, the thing with the pharmaceutical companies is they've had so many.
They've killed more people.
I don't want to say that they pay off people, but I don't want to get conspiracy.
Okay, well, like, not even conspiracy. It's true though, because as soon as it hits court, they're just like, "Here's money, shut up."
Well, there have been so many botched fucking things. Look at
Happy
most.
pills.
Okay, we'll go into Tylenol. There is new evidence coming out now that using Tylenol every day for chronic pain will cause chronic pain.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because you get
Tylenol destroys your liver.
Mm-hmm.
What was I trying to say? There were, yes, many antidepressants like Zoloft and Paxil, and there was another one.
Paxil was the one that caused depression, didn't it? Like, if you were depressed, it could get you to suicide thoughts. Like, it made it worse.
All of them do that.
All of them? Okay.
One of the main side effects for the first month of taking antidepressant medications is being super depressed and thoughts of suicide, and your chances of committing suicide within the first 2 weeks.
Right?
Increase,
They triple.
Yeah.
Not only that, there's been so many fucked up, like, if you look it up on Zoloft, there has been so many cases where a kid who has depression takes Zoloft and then out of nowhere snaps. There's a story where this kid killed his father with a hammer from taking Zoloft.
I got like a very recent thing that's happened with this is Chris Cornell's death right now was suicide. He hung himself, but his wife is blaming the medication that just recently started going on.
What was he on?
I don't know, and I wish I did.
It wasn't an antidepressant?
I think it was an antidepressant. He said
I heard that too. I don't remember what drug it was.
Fuck.
I wish I had an answer for it, but she's saying that this is what did it, and that's actually why they found him so quickly, is because his wife was like worried and got people that she knew in the area to go and check up on him, and it was too late.
Crazy.
Yeah, but that's what they're saying is like this medication, whatever it is. I think Aaron's trying to figure it out right now, but that medication fucked his brain so badly that he couldn't do it. And if you watch his last performance, because it's recorded, he is like off the stage like 5 or 6 times throughout there. You can tell there's something not right with him. Something's not clicking the way that it normally would for him. Like he doesn't want to be there. You can tell with the way that he's doing it, which is fucking it's terrible. You know, like that's something that's meant to help you is just doing this type of shit.
But again, these are like drugs.
They have double-blind placebo studies, but in most of the cases, they're not held to clinical standards. Now, the drug he was taking was Ativan, which is lorazepam, which is not it's not necessarily antidepressant. Right? No. Ativan, no. This is it's for like anti-anxiety. It's a benzodiazepine.
So same family, but not the same thing, right?
Sort of same family. Antidepressants are usually SSRIs. Those work in blocking the reuptake of the serotonin neuron, so it keeps you happy, whereas this more just relaxes you.
Okay, well, it certainly didn't do that for him.
No, it did, to the point where he didn't want to live anymore.
Fuck.
This is pretty big with benzos, too, is people getting depressed. Have you ever heard of Xanax?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Xanax is a huge thing right now, and I don't understand why people take it. It's a benzo. Basically,
it's a scary drug.
It is.
It's a scary
because the dosage is 1 milligram, and that's so small. Yeah. And these people are getting these 4 milligram pills.
Overdose on them too, eh?
Yeah. Well, you can't really overdose on shit like this.
But there's things like when you talk about contributive factors like Xanax, like you can take 4 milligrams of Xanax, for example, black out, not know where the fuck you are, and wake up 6 hours later.
That's the main
thing
you don't
know, right?
On benzos. Is it's amnesia in a pill. Is people just take it and they do not know. They lose massive periods of time.
Exactly. Or how they got there.
So many bad stories of this shit. I don't know why people think it's good. A good drug to take. All these rappers talking about Xanny bars and shit are fucking retarded.
What fucking rappers are saying that?
Lots of them, man. All these mumble rappers, Lil Wayne, they're talking about Xanax bars and promethazine cough syrup. Like, fucking drugs are great, but spend your money on real fucking drugs.
No ones that are gonna kill you.
Yeah, if you want to get fucked up, go do something that we know is not gonna kill. Is not this fucking bad for you. Is not gonna cause amnesia for fucking 48 hours.
Yeah.
Like, it's better to just go and do a little bit of heroin, as long as you know where it's from, you know the accurate dosage, you know it's not cut, and just fucking nod off for 6 hours, than it is to black out completely for 2 days and not know what the fuck you're doing. And holy shit, I'm ranting.
No, you're allowed to rant on that shit. That's fair.
I've been yelling at this about people for so long. It just came out.
That's what you have to fucking do, though. Plain and simple. Like, for instance, it's another drug, but alcohol. I can pretty much drink anything without a problem, but it's the cheap shit, like a Lucky Lager. It's a cheap beer out here. It's fucking gross. But I used to drink the 6%. But if I drank that and got drunk off of it, I fucking blacked out. So I just stopped fucking taking it. Like, I wouldn't drink that anymore, because that's the only thing that ever did it to me, and it would always be that. I'd wake up not knowing how I got there.
Well, yeah, you speak of prohibition, and we're talking about drugs. Like, alcohol is another one. It's a huge killer, but it's sanctioned now, right? Where you can get it anywhere. You go to the grocery store and you can get liquor, right?
And it is proven that making it legal has made it 100 times safer. Remember moonshiners? Remember how they...
Yeah, bootleggers, like, think of the Capone days when they were fucking bootlegging that shit.
You know why everyone went blind from drinking moonshine? Is because they were doing it in leaded stills. There was lead in their kegs. Like,
that's what really gives a good flavor, though.
Yeah, just a little bit of lead paint. Yeah. I'm a huge proponent for legalizing all drugs. Once you make them...
And here's the thing with drugs as well, and I'm gonna advocate for it too, because I think that if it's your body and it's your conscience, and if it's you that's driving yourself, if you want to do a little bit of marijuana because it's going to help you put you to sleep at night, and you don't trust what's in a sleeping pill, and you want a natural way to do it, and if it's like I'll say for me, for example, like I've tried, I've told you I've tried melatonin, I've tried sleeping pills, and I wake up either groggy, I wake up either shitty, but if I smoke weed, I wake up and I'm like 100, like I feel awake in the morning, I feel great, I've had a full sleep throughout the night because I'm not a good sleeper. I get my rest in and I feel great about it, and it's fine. I'm harming no one. I'm doing nothing bad. I'm literally just taking a few hoots before bed and being able to nod off and have a great sleep and feel rejuvenated for my next day. So like I'm not, but it's. I think what it comes down to is if you're going to abuse a drug or if you're not going to abuse a drug, and you can almost abuse any single drug, right?
Well,
there's not a drug.
Definitely.
That's where the argument says where
like
people
if you're sitting there eating eating a cheeseburger and you're drinking a bottle of beer and you're saying weed is bad. It's like, go fuck yourself, first of all, because that cheeseburger is going to be worse for you. That cheeseburger,
it's more addictive too.
I guarantee is more addictive.
Yep.
It's worse for you and you have more chance of either going to kill yourself or you're going to
More
kill
people
someone
have
else.
died
Like,
on it,
more people
yeah.
have died off cheeseburgers and obesity.
Literally, yeah.
And than marijuana, right? Ever. We know this. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you can abuse anything.
And
But
you
to
could
say-
even abuse
but the-
marijuana.
I was
You
just
can
about to
abuse
say.
marijuana too, 100%. You can, if I was doing it every single day, and I wasn't going to work anymore, and I wasn't doing, you know what I mean? I was getting lost in my own mind and not being productive with myself. You're abusing the drug.
That's
Just like
where
you
I
can
was.
abuse anything.
I mean,
When I was smoking constantly, I wasn't working. I was just smoking. It was a down part of my life. It wasn't because of marijuana that I was down. I was going down that way, and I just used marijuana to cope. But it became to the point that it was like, it almost seemed like an addiction, but it wasn't an addiction. It was just abusing something that it was not taking things in moderation like you probably should with everything.
I mean, a lot of people would probably say I have a bad relationship with marijuana, but like I might just be trying to look at this from a good way. But like, I smoke weed every day. I'm a hard fucking worker. I go to work every day. I don't fucking skip work because I want to fucking take a bong hoot. Like, I do everything I can. My life isn't in shambles. Like, it's legitimately helping me. I'm on a fuck ton of medication. Like you were saying about the sleep medication. When I was 16, they threw me on Seroquel for sleep. Seroquel
How do
is
you give
not
a drug like that?
To a
sleeping
16-year-old.
kid?
in rehab.
That's
Where they're
disgusting.
like, hey, you can't have a Tylenol, but do you want this narcotic that will
That's
just
insane.
knock you the fuck out?
That's-
Like, when you want to sleep, they'll start you off with, like, melatonin, and then they'll move up to, like Lunesta. They threw me on an antipsychotic, and they're just like, yeah, you're fine.
That's unreal.
Like, and to this day, this was 8 years ago. I'm still on this drug. I still have side effects. I cannot just stop taking it.
Yeah.
I take the drug. I fall asleep for 12 hours, and I wake up tired as fuck every day. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's fucking terrible. Like, I have sleeping problems. I always have, and I've very openly discussed this with you guys. Like, I take melatonin. I take a lot of it, and then I take like an over-the-counter drug that actually has medicinal like stuff in it. I don't really know the products, but I'm blessed with a wife that fucking looks into this shit like crazy.
Yeah.
So I take these things to fall asleep, and I wake up groggy as well. I found like something else that's helping me. I'll talk about that another time. But like trying to find that process and not wanting to go to the doctor to be like, hey, prescribe me something to get me to sleep, because I don't want to end up 6 years from now stuck on this drug that I can't get the fuck off of.
Honestly,
and I'm stuck with it for the rest of my goddamn life because of it. Like, that sucks.
I took what I thought would be the easy way out twice when I was depressed. I was like, hey, just give me drugs. That'll fix it, right? And no. It took me, those I've been on for 10 years. And it took me probably close to 8 years to realize, hey, these things are not going to magically fix anything. You got to put the work in yourself, or you're not going to feel
That's what I
better.
was gonna
Self-development.
say. The thing is,
Yeah.
like, you can. A drug is always a part fix, a part-time fix. Like, it's not
Yeah.
going to cure anything. You're not getting a drug to be cured of
Of
depression.
course.
You're getting a drug to cope with depression.
Yeah.
It's the same with sleeping. You're not getting a drug to, like, if you took one, you could sleep good forever. You would take one. It's not like that. It's like you have to continuously take this drug. To cope with the sleep.
You got to start looking at it
right?
like a business, right?
So you got exactly.
But
so
no
you,
fucking doctor told me that. No one ever told me that.
Well, they
I
did
had
it to you
find
when you
that
were
out.
fucking 16.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
not
they do
supposed to have
lots of
it.
kids,
Yeah.
though. They give drugs to parents give their kids ADHD, Ritalin.
Literally
You
meth.
said-
I
They
had
give their
Ritalin when I
kids
was a
meth.
kid, yeah.
You were taking meth
taking
as
meth.
a kid.
Yeah, when I was a kid, the teacher's like, he acts up in class, give him fucking Ritalin, and that's what I had.
He's a 10-year-old kid who wants to run around. He has lots of energy.
What a
and
freak.
He won't sit down in his desk for 8 hours
And learn something that he
watch
doesn't give a shit about.
Listen to a boring teacher talk
Yeah.
about nonsense he doesn't care about. You're
Yeah.
gonna go on a drug, and then you're gonna learn to sit there.
I was smart, or I was lucky. My mom was smart. She got me off of that pretty quick. I was a
Yeah.
couple months of it, and then she got rid of it.
Well, it's like it's a drug. Again, it's like pharmaceutical companies for the most part, and like pharmacists are drug dealers. That's
Yeah.
all they are. But it's sanctioned for us, right? Because we know them as like they have a doctorate, right? And they have a name, but they're still putting chemical compounds together, making drugs, and selling them to kids and to young people.
Well, this is
I want to do a
Sorry,
counterbalance on this, because there's another stigma in our society right now that we're dealing with, is people not doing the things that they should do with doctors. We're not trying to say every doctor's bad.
No,
Right
not
now,
at all, not at all.
like, people won't take fucking vaccinations because they're just
Okay, that's silly.
yeah,
exactly.
like you got to balance it properly. Like, understand that there is some benefits to what they're trying to give you, but understand that even though there is these benefits, you have to look into it and realize.
I'm gonna go on like a random rant here.
Yeah.
Me and Kayla, we were watching these series of tribes that have like not had contact with the outside world, and they still exist today. So like they're still alive, but a lot of them get wiped out from coming into contact with modern society because of all these diseases that we carry. We've taken vaccines for, but they have no immune system for it. They don't have all these like vaccines.
It just wipes them out,
right?
Yeah.
So and just contact with our civilization today and all the diseases that we've carried and we've made. Now we can just like wipe out a society of people.
Yeah.
Because they haven't taken our vaccinations. So now we're at the point now where you have to take vaccination. It's silly not to almost.
This helps us avoid like there was a time that smallpox wiped out. I think it was 250,000 people or something in Europe. It was smallpox. Yeah. And then like the Black Plague, that one fucking I think that was like 2 million or something like that died because of, like we're trying to avoid these type of scenarios happening again. It makes a lot of sense why they do this type of thing to help us out and help our society out. Like we haven't had much of a real epidemic where it's killed millions or thousands of people in a long fucking time, centuries.
I mean, there's malaria.
Well, probably centuries.
Kills tons of people every year.
For sure, this could be a whole topic.
Absolutely.
It's a debatable topic.
Sorry,
it's a good thing to take vaccines because there's got to be sides to it.
Oh yeah,
we can go on forever.
I spent a lot of time researching that, and
I just wanted to give that like counterbalance to the thing. Like it does sound like we're just shitting on doctors, but there is things that is good.
That's not the case. And doctors don't go into it. It's how society has been shaped, right? Like it's not a doctor's fault that they're prescribing these drugs. It's that we've been told our entire lives that these drugs are good, are going to help people. Here's a new drug that's going to help and whatever. But it's because it's...
And medicine does not move quickly.
Medicine does not move quickly.
Slow as fuck. It takes years for that shit to get implemented.
Yeah. Like the experimental side of it, right? They're going to test everything out and get it out.
But it's how society has just evolved to, right?
Like you can't blame doctors. They went in this with best of intentions, trying to help people.
You want to help people.
But everything they were taught was kind of... not entirely, but kind of forced in like, hey, this is who's giving us money.
Mm-hmm.
We should
push this pharmaceutical drug.
Yeah,
like exactly. Viagra, right? It was one of those examples.
Turning it around to a business again, basically.
Well, these salesmen would go with this new drug, right? They go to pharmaceutical reps and they'd say, or the pharmaceutical reps, and they say, try to sell this new Viagra drug. For every Viagra drug you give to someone, we're going to give you whatever profit of this, right? So then both sides are becoming rich out of their minds, and they've just made this drug that's going to...
Give us a boner.
We do have some laws against that now, because I've talked to my brother about this.
But I'm talking about the 80s, the 90s.
Yeah,
like that's. Yeah, no. I mean, it was every drug that could be pushed was pushed, right? Like
look at OxyContin in Florida. OxyContin, Florida used to be called the OxyContin Express. At one point, over 90% of the opiate prescriptions that were being written in North America were coming out of Florida.
Crazy.
90% of North America coming from one state. There is a thing where people were just going to like walk-ins being like, hey, I need something for my back. They'll give them a bunch of OxyContin.
Here's heroin.
And then they'll run to the next one because they don't log that shit.
My grandma lives in Mission, BC right now, and she's been on OxyContins like forever because her doctor prescribed it to her when she was young. She's been on OxyContins forever, and now the Canadian government's saying that like we want to
get her off.
Yeah, we want to get her off. We want to reduce the amount of OxyContin she takes. Now tell someone who's been taking OxyContins for 30 years for back pain.
Yeah.
And now you try to tell them that they can't have that dose anymore, and we're going to cut it down. So now they have to. It's like now this is a regulation. You can't give a patient more than this amount of OxyContin. So now she's got to take a less dose of OxyContin, and now obviously her back pain is going to be there. And now she's going through withdrawals because she can't take the amount. But it's a drug that she was given by a doctor.
And then eventually,
and they're like, yeah, you can't have that
going to run
anymore.
out. She's not going to be able to get any more. And then poor old grandma's going to have to go buy heroin from the dealer because it's the only thing.
That's not sanctioned, not done properly. Could be just about anything that they're getting. Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
There was a study recently. Now, I'm pulling this all out of my head. I'm going to try and be as accurate as possible. But there was something done in Vancouver. This has nothing to do with weed, but it's on the topic.
We're kind of all over the map with this one.
Yeah, we kind of are.
Yeah. Sorry.
It started with weed. We had good intentions, I promise you people.
There are these safe injection sites in BC where you can go and they'll give you clean needles, a clean place to shoot up heroin. So there's 4 of them in, I believe, Vancouver is where this study was done. The study was done over 9 months in one of these places. They were testing the cookers people use to cook their drugs. They were testing that for fentanyl, and they found that 80% of the heroin tested and the cocaine, 80% of the heroin and the meth had traces of fentanyl in it, and 40% of the cocaine. That is a staggeringly high number.
That's really fucking high.
That's crazy high.
Fentanyl could even be in marijuana too, right? They
It
cut it
could,
with whatever,
yeah.
right?
Like you're talking about milligrams. So a speck, you could drop it in someone's bag of weed.
So at the end of the day, like legalizing it as well, it's going to at least be regulated that we know fentanyl is not going to be cut in our weed if you go to the...
I mean, there's a lot of problems with regulation.
But here's the fentanyl doesn't get cut in there, but what does? Once it gets completely like by the government itself, because tobacco used to just be tobacco at one point.
Oh, and then all the other chemical compounds.
Yeah, and that's something you got to take into consideration. We're at like a baby version of what's happening.
Kind of
with
where
pot,
we're
right?
starting to. I think we're heading in the right direction. Is the bill that was proposed, at least in Canada, was that you're allowed to like grow 4 plants.
Yeah.
So you can grow your own 4 plants.
You can do your own thing.
Yeah.
And which means you can literally just stick a pod in the ground and you can water it. You don't have to put any kind of chemicals on it if you didn't want to.
Organic, yeah.
You can
it's a little bit harder. There's a little bit of a learning gap.
Oh,
no, really?
Yeah, that's what to do, and it's. I mean, I'm just saying, like you can do it.
Allegedly.
I'm not saying I do it, but you can do it. I didn't say I do it, but I can do it.
I'm telling you that right now.
You're thinking about it, don't think about it, right?
It's in your backyard, you've done nothing but water, and you're just smoking a plant.
Yeah.
That, with all intents and purposes, was supposed to be smoked from the beginning of time and has been smoked.
Well, we have cannabinoid receptors in our brain.
It's telling us to smoke it.
Who am I to fucking dispute evolution?
Exactly.
So I guess the consensus on it all is that
weed is great. Everyone get high. 420 plays it, faggot. We're out of here.
Pros and cons to both sides of it. We've had a huge evolution of it all. We went from, probably it shouldn't have been, illegal in the first place. I think we're moving in the right direction by making it legal and regulating it properly.
A lot of problems, a lot of things, a lot of obstacles we still have to overcome.
We got to educate people on it, which is hopefully this is a way to do so, right?
Education's key right now for this to work.
Yeah, making sure that kids aren't just blindly taking this.
And getting the federal government on board.
Getting the federal government on board, which they're kind of working on, right?
In Canada, we're a little better. In the States, it's still federally illegal. So what that means is all these people running dispensaries cannot use banks. So they're hiring security companies like militias, private militias to transfer millions of dollars of cash.
And it's a weird thing too when you're distributing weed from state to state. There's some states where it's like you're not allowed to pass certain state lines. Otherwise,
you're now transferring a legal substance.
A truck full of exactly. And it's illegal in this area of town, but now you pass this border of town, and it's not legal. Now you can pull this guy over and you can put him to jail for.
In Texas, you can still go to jail for life if you get
caught
3 times.
Yeah, the 3-strike rule.
Yeah,
I hate that rule. That's so fucked up.
It's something that there's tons of benefits to. I'm an advocate for. I think it's something that, at least if you're very one-sided on this and you're thinking these guys are idiots and marijuana is terrible for you and it's going to kill you and it's going to make black people rape our wives.
White wives.
Only on white wives.
Only the white ones.
All I'm saying is having an open mind to it. Don't be so one-sided. Don't be so biased. I think both sides can look at, the pros and cons of it. Let's just educate ourselves properly on it and understand that we can't control someone's conscience. At the end of the day, if someone wants to do a drug like tobacco and they want to smoke tobacco, let them smoke tobacco. If it's their mind, it's their body. If someone wants to do marijuana, let them smoke marijuana. If it's going to help them with their pains, if it's going to help them with sleeping, if anorexia, if it's any of these things, let them smoke it. Let them have. Don't take that away, a naturally grown plant from someone who's going to benefit from it. Maybe you don't benefit from it. Maybe you're totally against it and it doesn't work for you. That's totally fine. But keep an open mind to someone that it's probably the better way to go when we've talked about all the pharmaceutical damages that can be caused from things like Tylenol, things like antidepressants. So it's probably a better route for society to move towards. And we've kind of lost our roots with nature and our roots smoking these organic plants. But I think it's something that should be coming back, and I think it's I'm an advocate for it anyways.
I think
that's kind of my.
I think right now this is probably the most unanimous thing that we have between us. Like in all of our discussions that we've had, all of us are on the same side of this for different reasons, but all of us are on the exact same side of this.
Definitely.
That it should be legalized. The criminalization of this is definitely hurting our society more than it is doing anything else.
100%.
And I think right now medicinally is more than enough reason to get going on it. Like forget all the recreational thing. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it should be done recreationally as well. But I think even just medicinally alone has so many benefits. It like if you put it on a scale, the medicinal like benefits are gonna way outweigh the negativity that can come from it.
We have to bring up the education in that. Most people don't know that they can get a weed card. Like, most people don't know there's another option besides taking this Percocet and this Oxycontin.
There are some businesses out there that are trying to help with that. I know that we have one in Winnipeg right now that's right by where you pay your speeding tickets on Broadway. You can go there and they'll help you try and get yourself your marijuana card.
There's several of them. My mom's getting her weed card because she's on synthetic weed, which has its own problems because they chemically isolate THC, so it doesn't have the CBDs and all the other stuff anymore. So that has its own problems.
Yeah.
So if anything, just be open-minded from this conversation.
Absolutely.
Look at it from both
do
ways.
your own research.
Do your own research.
Call us out on anything we're wrong on.
Bullshit.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I think at this point we've kind of nailed everything that we could on this, for at least for today.
Yeah.
Well, if you didn't know, this is Why the Fuck Not, where three guys get around one table and discuss things like marijuana for a long period of time. Marijuana. If you want, you can find us on Podbean at WTFN. You can also find us on YouTube, WTFN Podcast, and iTunes, Why the Fuck Not Podcast. Of course, jump on Facebook and hit us up at facebook.com/whythefucknot, and email us at whythefucknot@podcast@gmail.com. We always appreciate your input on everything we do. Either way, I'm Ed.
I'm Dwight. Thanks for listening.
I'm Aaron. 420 Blazes.
Let's go drink some lead beers, guys.
Yeah.